it's me, it's Johnny Boy. We're back in the garden. A bit late today, but we'll be okay. Look, we're working out from the porcelain area, and you can just see where I've got the inspection tray. We've got a little cut to go in there, one little cut to go over there, and then we'll finish over there. We've started to do the steps. I can't work on those today, okay, because they were only just laid yesterday, and we've got to start coming out, get the gate back on. And I think those blue engineering, those Staffordshire blues, they're going to have to go. But in the meantime, we're going to be working on this area of the garden. And the reason we're going to work on this area of the garden, because we have to make sure that this is in sync with that area there. So what we want, in theory, we want the decking area. Okay, the decking is what is it, Jack? 125 mil width, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we want that distance above ground level. So what, putting decking at levels in the ground with it's not me anyway. So we're going to go back 6 inches, 5 inches higher than the lawned area. So what we're going to be doing, you're going to run a pin from that side with a string line over to here, and that will give us our height of our decking. And then what we're going to be doing over on that side, we're going to have an aero cladding wall, but in between the wall and the decking we're going to have a little planter. Okay, so it's not just wall to wall paving, decking or whatever. We'll have a little bit of planter, and we'll put things like grasses like Hacker Canoa in it, or some Miscanthus sinensis, something that's going to soften that area up and give you a contrast with the cladding. Right, let's get on with it. Come and have a look. Okay, okay, here we are. We're putting a decking system in place. It's going to be a 3x3. We're using 6 inch by 2 inch stud work on here, tannalized graded timber. All right, you need to do that because you know it's going to last. If you come over here, Jack, and just look along here for our viewers, just come along here and scroll all the way down, that's it. Right, so now Jack showed you that. So what we've done in this case, because we may be putting the timber on here, the aero decking board, we may be putting that in a diagonal format. So what we've done, we've gone 400 centers. So where's the tape? Here we go. So if you look at this now, we've got 400 centers, but you're going to say, well, the pencil marks don't represent where the centers are. But what we've done, you can either go 400 centers or outside edge to outside edge. Put your mark, and then we put the cross to illustrate where the timber is going to be, so on and so on. So 400, 800, 1.2, 1.6, 2 meters, 2.4, and then 2.8 accordingly. So what we're going to do here, if you step over here, John, I'll just explain to our viewers now. You just sit down over here, we're going to have a coffee in a minute. So what we're doing here now is, at the end of the garage, there is going to be a cladding, a wall cladding in the aero charcoal, the charcoal colour we're going to be using, and that's going to go there. And this will be like a little snook, like a little area they can come and sit. It's going to be a windbreak as well, and it'll just look attractive. It'll be a good contrast to the brickwork, okay? But what we want to be able to do, we don't want wall-to-wall decking, we don't want wall-to-wall paving. We need to break it up, and we're going to break it up with a planting pocket. And because there's a difference in the ground level, which adds a little bit more interest to what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using this timeless sleeper in this situation. We're going to bed it in on concrete, and this little pocket here is going to become a little planting pocket, and we're going to fill it with grasses, as I said earlier. One of the things that I want to sort of point out to you is that when you're using screws, all this steel, whatever it's made of, alloys, whatever, right, they'll all have a shear strength. You'll see that guys that do timber frame will always use like nail guns generally, and use hammer and nails, you know, galv nails, and those ring shanks as well, so to stop it pulling out. But what I prefer to do on this occasion, I use the screws, because sometimes I change my mind about things. I want to be able to unscrew it and change things and so forth. And but what you've got to watch is sometimes is if you have a lot of weight applying onto these timbers, these will just snap. Okay, these will just snap. But remember, we're going to be bedding this on a concrete padstone, so it won't be going anywhere at all. All right, we won't have to worry about that. We could put some nails on here instead of using the screws, but the screws in this case is just going to allow us just to bed in and hold in position initially, because what's going to be taking the weight of this timeless sleeper is the stud work frame of the decking system, because we're not going to bring that right up to the top. This is going to retain it as well. That's going to hold that. Those screws are just going to hold it in place just initially. We've got a concrete behind there already. Was it, Jack? 4 inches, 5 inches, maybe 6 inches deep. That's just going to. That's not going to go anywhere at all, you know, because it just can't sink down to the ground. The concrete's just going to allow it just to bed on, and then we're going to be able to get a level across it and just check that. Well, that's about it now. I'm going to have my coffee now, and I hope you're enjoying it so far. More to come. Well, here we are. Jack's putting in some stepping stones here, and he's got a 300mm gap between each slab and the patio there. That's for the grass to come through, and you can see he ain't gonna hit that slab now, he ain't gonna chip it, but he's doing a semi-dry mix, and he's gonna add a little bit more sand on there now. But what he's doing as well, he's slurrying the back of each slab. The thing is about a screed mix like this, a semi-dry, is that what you're going to have is that the less water that you put in any mortar or concrete, the less water, the stronger the product becomes. And if it's done right, it works. You won't. That's why you've got to use the slurry mix on the back of the slab, simply because it's going to adhere to the mortar. So when this is almost like the same way as they make block paving, it's compacted, and that'll be tapped down. We'll put the slab on there first, get the correct level, and then fluff it up again, and then what we'll do, put the slurry on the slab, and then we'll tap it down, and they ain't going anywhere. As long as you make sure that you push the mortar in all the way around, that slab won't go nowhere at all. Just another way, another method. Well, there we go. We've started doing the stud work for the decking, got the raised bed in position, and that decking system is going to coincide with this patio. And you can see we started to get the stepping stones in as well. Let me just show you from this angle. You can see how that leads down to the garden gate. So we'll have grass on this side where the bell mixer stand is, running through, pouring through in between those slabs like the stepping stone, and coming over on this side, and you'll get better integration then between the two areas, as opposed to having a solid path going all the way down. So it's looking good. We're starting to make some progress now, bit by bit. I'm not worried about the turfing. The turfing is going to run right the way around here. That's not a problem at all. As long as we have some dry weather, and we'll be okay. I'll get the digger back in here, I'll turn that soil over, loosen it all up because it's been compacted. But we are heading in the right direction, slowly. But as long as it's positive, that's the main thing. I was going to post a picture, but you can hear the rain. This is where we're at. This is what landscapers have to put up with on a day-to-day basis. Look at the rain bouncing off that table there. If you can just see. It's not good, and whatever you're doing out there across the country, try and be productive, don't make a mess. So have a great day if you can. There we are, young Jack now. He's got the membrane underneath. We don't want any weeds coming through. Right, Jack, are you going to move tomorrow?
No. Precision.
Jack, just for our viewers, seriously, right? What's it like working with me in the morning? Because people like to hear of you. Face onto the camera.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is Juicens. Juicens bag. I don't get paid off Juicens. it was convenient. So what we're doing here, we've got the planted membrane underneath, and that's going to keep the weeds down. But what we don't want is we need the stone to suppress it and keep it down, because you know only certain membranes don't work with certain weeds like brambles. There is a certain spec membrane you've got to put down to go over brambles, and it's just to stop the light, and that's why this sort of helps as well. Not that we've got brambles underneath here, but you've got to think about what you're actually using. So we're going to put some gravel underneath here, keep the membrane down, stop the weeds coming through. And there is some science behind the fact that what all those chippings do, they when the ground warms up in the summer, what the chippings do, they tend to sort of keep it cool underneath and suppress the heat. So all those little stones will have all the condensation around that, as opposed to coming up underneath the decking. But remember, this is all tannalized treated timber. As you can see, Jack, we'll blame Jack. Jack hasn't quite pulled the membrane. Come and have a look. If you look down here, it's not necessarily his fault. If you look down there, you can see where the membrane hasn't come right underneath. But what we're going to be doing here, Jack, if we stay focused along here, we're going to be putting along this edge, a picture frame using the basalt colour, Jack. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, basalt black.
Yeah, and we're going to cut a picture frame, 150 mil, 150 mil. So it's going to wrap around there, so it'll act as a mowing strip. So when you put the decking down, you're not going to have to run the strimmer or have to go along the edge of your deck. You'll be able to just mow over the picture frame. So that's what that's for. So the concrete can spill in underneath there anyway, and then we're going to bed it in. So we're going to put a concrete plinth in first before we just bed it on that, because when you're laying a small unit like a 900 by 150, it's a small unit, there's not a lot of weight in it, and you need to make sure it sticks down. So we're going to put like a little concrete bracing, what we used to do years ago with the channel blocks, and that's going to make sure that actually sticks down. It's great bringing you some content this morning. So Jack, let's get on with it. Oh, that's a different company. So am I getting paid by them?
Yeah, why not? We'll get paid by all of them.
Yeah, nice one, Jack. This is the thing. I'm going to try and keep off this day. We can clean this up, but you don't want too much water on your paving at any time of the year anyway. You've got to use your water to get it clean. But look, you can see we've got the gravel in. Could have done with another bag, but that's fine. I'm going to spread that around a little bit more. And like I said, we've got the concrete plinth going around here, and we're going to have that picture frame all the way around. We've got to think of how we're going to have to put another little retaining wall against. You can just see over there against the garage where we're going to have to keep, because there's going to be a planting pocket in there. So we've got to maybe run a header course across there again, just like there is on the one side, and with a dry joint, so there's no water holding against the garage. You don't want to cause a problem, and the water can escape. So we're sort of good to go. We're going to get the chop saw. We're going to put the chop saw in the garage now today, because we just can't have that being wet, and we can just step over there. We can stay off this patio, which is really annoying. But I've had to walk across there because the customer's going to make us a nice cup of coffee. It seems okay at the moment. Well, here we are. I know you don't want to see us. You want to see some decking going down, I suppose. But it's just pouring down, and they've got this film crew coming this morning, and a film editing team, videographer, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know how much we're going to be able to get done, because we want to get the tools soaking wet, and just a nightmare. But yet another cup of coffee.